Alex, I spent 20 years convincing myself that if a project didn't involve a blade spinning at 4,000 RPMs or a welding arc bright enough to burn my retinas, it wasn't real shop work. Then I tried to recover a simple wingback chair. I have never felt more humbled by a piece of fabric in my entire life. It's like wrestling a very stylish alligator that refuses to stay pinned down.
Wait, the man who builds timber frame sheds was defeated by a bit of floral chintz? That is a visual I am going to treasure. Did you actually cry or just stare at the sewing machine until it felt uncomfortable?
There was a significant amount of staring, and possibly some bargaining with higher powers. But that's the thing. Upholstery is the final frontier for a lot of makers. We can build the bones of the furniture all day, but if the skin looks like a wrinkled bedsheet, the whole piece just feels unfinished. It's the difference between a high-end heirloom and something you'd find on the curb with a free sign on it.
Well, today we are fixing that for everyone listening. We're diving into Upholstery 101. We're talking fabrics, the tools you actually need. Spoiler, it's more than just a stapler, and how not to make your chair look like it was wrapped by a toddler.
The first thing you have to wrap your head around is that upholstery fabric isn't just a fancy name. If you try to use garment cotton or a thin bedspread to cover a sofa, you're basically asking for a disaster. It's about the weave. Upholstery stuff is built like a tank. It's got a tighter weave and a heavier weight because it has to survive people actually, sitting on it.
Right, because if I use my favorite summer dress fabric for a couch, I'm going to be sitting on the springs by next Tuesday. So, break it down for us. Natural versus synthetic. Is there a best, or is it just about the vibe?
It's a trade-off like everything else in the shop. You've got your natural fibers, cotton and linen. Cotton is the old reliable. It's breathable, it feels great against your skin, and it doesn't pill like some of the cheap stuff. But if you spill a glass of red wine on untreated cotton, that chair now belongs to the wine.
It becomes a statement piece very quickly. What about linen? Every high-end interior design magazine makes it look so effortless.
Linen is beautiful, but it's the high-maintenance cousin. It has that gorgeous texture, but it's prone to wrinkling. If you want a chair that looks like it's lived a long, interesting life in a French farmhouse, linen is your guy. But if you're a perfectionist who hates a stray crease, it'll drive you right up the wall.
Okay, so if I have a dog that thinks the sofa is his personal wrestling mat, I'm guessing I should be looking at the synthetic side of the aisle?
Exactly. Polyester and microfibers are the heavy hitters for durability. They're basically stain resistant by design. I once saw a piece of high-end performance polyester take a hit from a dropped slice of pepperoni pizza, oil, sauce, the works, and it just wiped off like it never happened. It was like watching a magic trick.
That sounds like my kind of magic. But let's get to the actual work. You said you felt humbled by that wingback chair. Where did it go sideways?
The curves, Alex. The curves will betray you. I went into it thinking it was like wrapping a birthday present. You pull, you fold, you staple. But fabric has a mind of its own. If you're a beginner, stay away from the curves. Start with straight lines. A dining room chair pad, a flat ottoman, maybe a headboard.
So basically anything that looks like a box?
Pretty much. If you can wrap a box of chocolates, you can upholster a footstool. With straight lines, you're just managing tension. But when you hit a curve, you have to learn the art of the pleat. You're essentially gathering excess fabric and hiding it in a way that looks intentional rather than accidental. My first attempt looked like a Shar-Pei puppy. Just rolls of skin everywhere.
I'm picturing you trying to sand down the fabric to make it fit.
Don't give me ideas. But seriously, the secret sauce is the tools. Most people think they can just grab the office stapler and go to town. You need a real staple gun. Electric or pneumatic if you value your wrist joints. And fabric scissors. I once used my shop shears that I'd previously used to cut sandpaper. I might as well have been trying to cut the fabric with a butter knife. It chewed the edges into a jagged mess.
I feel like every maker has that one pair of sacred scissors that will result in a domestic dispute if anyone uses them on paper.
Oh, absolutely. In this shop, if you touch the fabric scissors to anything other than textiles, you're banned for a week. And here's the tool nobody wants to talk about, the staple remover. Because as a beginner, you are going to spend 50% of your time putting staples in and the other 50% pulling them back out because you realize you had a wrinkle 3 inches back. It's a rhythmic dance of failure and correction.
That sounds like the motto for this entire podcast. So if I'm starting my first project, let's say those dining chairs you mentioned, what's the sequence? Do I just rip the old stuff off and start firing?
Whoa, slow down there, Tex. First rule, take photos. Take a photo of how the original fabric was folded, where the staples were, how the corners were tucked. It's like taking an engine apart. You think you'll remember where the bolts go, but you won't.
Good tip. So document the before crime scene. What's next?
Strip it down to the frame, check the foam. If the foam feels like a dried out sponge that's been in the sun too long, replace it. There is no amount of beautiful fabric that can save a chair that feels like sitting on a pile of gravel. Then you lay your fabric out, find your center point, and work your way out to the edges.
Is there a trick to getting that tension right? I always worry I'm going to pull it so tight it rips, or leave it so loose it looks like a saggy diaper.
It's a firm handshake kind of pull. You want it taut, but you aren't trying to win a tug of war. The biggest mistake is stapling one side completely and then trying to pull the other. You have to work in opposites. One staple on the north side, one on the south, one east, one west. Keep checking the front to make sure you aren't pulling the pattern off center.
That sounds tedious, but I guess that's where the craft part comes in. What about the pro tips for making it look professional? Like, how do you hide the staples?
That's where you get into trim or gimp, or if you're feeling fancy, you do a hidden stitch. But for a beginner, a nice decorative upholstery tack can actually add a lot of character. It's like adding jewelry to a suit. It covers your sins and makes people think you meant to do it that way.
I love that. Covers your sins. That should be the subtitle of your autobiography, Tiger.
It's a long book, Alex. But honestly, the real satisfaction comes when you flip that piece over, trim the excess, and realize you've just saved a piece of furniture from the landfill. There's a sustainability angle here that really hits home. We live in a world of fast furniture that's designed to be thrown away after 3 years. Learning to reupholster is like giving a middle finger to planned obsolescence.
That's actually really lovely. A bit of fabric and some patience, and you've got something that can last another 30 years.
Exactly. It's not just about the aesthetics, it's about the soul of the piece. You're giving it a second life, even if you do end up with a few crooked staples and a thumb you accidentally hit with the mallet once or twice.
Okay, so the takeaway for today? Don't be afraid of the fabric, but respect the weave. Start flat, buy the right scissors, and maybe keep a bottle of wine nearby. For the celebratory drink, not for staining the cotton.
Perfect. And remember, if the first corner looks like a mess, just tell everyone it's abstract expressionism. Works every time.
Thanks for the masterclass, Tiger. I might actually go home and look at my sad, peeling office chair with a new perspective.
Just don't start with the armrests, Alex. Trust me on that one.